All right, Luke Johnson, welcome to Agent Academy podcast. Thanks for joining us. Luke, number one agent at Professionals, individual agent at Professionals this year. Well done, man.
Thank you.
It's been a long time in the making.
It has been, yeah. Started off as an individual, moved into New Zealand's best team, and then jumped back into the individual realm and number one now from the last financial year.
Nice one, man. My first question, is there anything in particular that you think has given you the advantage to be number one? Is there an attribute? Is there an action that you've taken? Is there any sort of thing that's helped you become number one?
Oh, that's a big answer, actually. Yeah, there's a number of things. I'm just trying to order them in my head before I answer it. I think at the heart of it all, I got my home sorted out first.
When you say
My home, like
your patch?
yeah, like not even to do with work.
Your personal home?
Personal home. So like my nest where I am. I think once I had that sorted, I've been with my wife for 10 years. We've always had a really good relationship, but when we were expecting our first child, which is January 23, like last year, sorry. And we had obviously 9 months till she was born. That's when sort of things really changed for me because I was always a good agent. I was always earning good income, but the reason why I was working was for a bigger cause.
Nice.
And that's sort of, I think, what pivoted my real estate, my brand.
Yeah.
My job.
Extra motivation with the sixth timeline of what was to come.
Yeah. I mean, and I knew I could always be like the top or the best real estate agent. I mean, I wasn't going out there saying I was the best.
Yeah.
But I know that I could outwork anyone.
Right.
That was in the market. So that was my drive. But it's weird because I feel like me personally, I find it easier to do a harder job or better job for other reasons than myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not really focused on me. I'm focusing about my home, my people.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things in there if we unwrap that. A strong personal life or home life contributes to success outside of that. And often, I've said to a lot of people before, if you see their performance dropping, it's not a work problem most of the time, it's a personal problem. And that personal problem is carrying over into business. So getting your home sorted has allowed you to go forward. The other thing is self-belief. I've always known that I can be the top agent, you said, that I would go out and tell people, not that I'm arrogant about that, but I have personal belief inside of my own abilities, which is strong, and that you would outwork others in the market. So you know that you're a hard worker.
Yeah. And I was very fortunate in the fact that when I first started real estate, obviously young, fresh, you don't know what you're doing, right? I mean, you were saying that when you first got into kapari, you just basically, the money wasn't a factor or anything. You were just out there. If there was experience, if there was open homes, if there was way to move buyers around, or just any opportunity for jobs or to produce work, you just jumped on it. And then from working on my own, I moved into Shane Brockberg's team Brocklebank. And, you're talking about I was looking at some of the details of what I've done over the last 9 to 10 years. I went from selling 15 homes, I think, on the first year, which I thought was actually a decent start. It was 2014. The market wasn't too quick. And it went to 22 homes. And then when I entered the team, we jumped up to 150 homes. So the amount of experience and work I was learning in the process just skyrocketed.
Right.
Because you just come across every single situation and you just become this massive problem solver. That's why I reckon real estate is actually in a nutshell.
Solving problems
and people.
Yep. So it's interesting because our podcast just before this one, her top recommendation for somebody who was not doing what they were hoping to be doing and wanted to kick their career on was to join a team.
Yep.
And gain the experience from that and learn from other people who had done extremely well and just craft skills, I guess.
And it's success breeds success, right? If you're around it, you see what they're doing. They're not sitting in front of you teaching you, you should do this. It's they give you, they make you do the jobs they don't want to do, essentially.
Yeah.
But through the process of it all, you get to see how they get deals across the line. If things go pear-shaped, how their reaction is. And that's just echoed through the whole office because you've got, John, who owns our Professionals branch. He's gone from, a rubbish truck driver, throwing bags all over Wainui Lower Hutt for a few years to ownership of the business.
Yep.
And, multiple other things too. Our sales manager, same thing. He was working in hotel selling. Then knew John as well, became the top salesperson in Z. So the whole hierarchy of what's been led at professionals, they've all been number one. They're all success. And I don't know, like, from your perspective, was the owner of Tall Poppy a real estate agent prior to that?
He was, yeah.
I feel like as an agent, agents follow other agents who have done it. Like, it's a lot easier. Like, you can't bring someone else from another industry into real estate and try and make them follow them. And I've noticed that just through, not even professionals, I used to do marketing with Harcourts, not as an agent, just as the marketing team, and they were led by Elliot Falconer.
Yep.
You know him?
Yep.
But he was a top agent, and it was like everyone followed him and got behind him because he was just leading the way.
Right. On this, do you think that the leader within a business is extremely important based on what you're saying then?
Yes.
Yeah. My observation of a lot of the market and a lot of the different agencies, and this isn't taking away from anyone or pushing my own agenda or anything, is that the difference within a lot of these offices, other than the colour, is the person who's driving the ship.
Yeah.
Why would someone swap from blue to yellow or yellow to red or whatever unless there was not a difference in leadership or culture or something? Do you know what I mean? Like the traditional agencies largely operate in the same way. There's small points of difference within each brand, I guess, that they push. But ultimately it's the person or the people in there driving it that you're aligned to.
Yeah. I know the other agencies. Like, I know we all have the same framework, but I know what I sell and what we do, even though like I'm under the professionals brand, is different to what other agents are providing.
Right.
And it could be just, like communication, like it could be all personal aspects. It doesn't have anything to do with the branding. But people do follow, success or like even large market share, for example, especially if you're new, trying to get into the business, which was why I was surprised about your framework you're mentioning.
Right.
Like that really was like, oh, how would that start?
Yeah, okay.
As a new agent, how do you begin?
Yeah.
Like, don't know, if you're not from the area, early 20s, mid 20s, you've got no life experience essentially. You've got no skills because you haven't been out there and actually done appraisals or buyers. You don't have that.
Yeah.
It always so how do you create work?
So you moved to professionals, which for the viewers out there is the largest market share in this area by a long way. And
funny story about it. Do you want to hear?
Yeah, go.
So I used to be the marketing coordinator for Harcourt's team group.
Yep.
Which was 12, 14 offices across lower North Island. And they were all owned by the same owner. And I was just the marketing guy there, straight out of uni, fresh, stoked to have a job. It was the only real job actually on Trade Me that I could actually apply for with my digital design skills. Sat there for about 2 years, realised I hated a desk job. It wasn't for me 9 to 5. So I was going to get into the real estate world, in which I set my papers while I was doing the marketing position with the intention of basically going to go work for Harcourts.
Yep.
Because, I'm working in the brand, they've been great to me. Really fresh face. I was like, I wanted to work in Lower Hutt because the Harcourts market share was really low.
Yep.
And I wanted to be that star in their office.
Interesting.
So I was like, you know what, I'll go and do interviews with other agencies just to see what they got.
Yep.
Went to interview professionals. They were great. Offered me, some pretty, handy things to get you started in the industry. And naively, I went back to my job and I told our sort of salesman or our manager at the time that I went for an interview, professionals, just to see what they could offer me. And I could you offer me this? Not knowing that I was negotiating or conflicts of interest. I was so fresh-faced.
Yeah.
Went back to my desk for about 2 hours and then he came in, told me to leave the computer alone and go home.
Welcome to the ruthless nature of real estate sales.
Yeah. So I basically, it wasn't fired, it was forced to leave.
Yeah.
Because I was already intending to leave in 3 to 4 weeks. So they forced me to leave to go home.
Yeah.
Stood me up like I was like some sort of criminal, not to touch the desk or anything else.
Yeah.
And then just go home. I had to just sit it out and wait till basically that time was up and pay was ready. Then I had no other choice but to join professionals.
Was that motivation for you, that whole, having to go through that?
Yeah. I was like, I didn't understand why, for starters, because I was like, I thought I was doing the right thing. telling him
Yeah.
that, I've been here. I'm not trying to like do the dodges here, but can you offer me what they've offered me? Because they've offered me like this retainer, security, and like it seems like a really good setup. And without any sort of negotiation back, just laid off. It was essentially fired, but they didn't call it fired because it was just forced leave. But in my head, I got fired for being honest, and it was a harsh reality to get into the business.
It is. So, talking about that, the fuel for the fire, is there something in particular that motivates you? So outside of that home life, generally there's sort of four main pillars that people are inspired by or motivated by. One is winning and recognition. Another one is money or finances. Another one is belonging or being part of something bigger than yourself. And then another one is helping others. Is there a particular motivator for you that drives you to help you become number one outside of your family?
It would be helping others. So I coach at a gym as well, even to this day. So one morning a week I do group fitness at Body Fit. Do you know what Body Fit is? So one morning a week, it's just the family there is like, I know them well. They're real good. It's a real good community. But it doesn't matter sort of if it's a fitness goal or real estate goal, they're working towards something. I'm a big champion of helping people like genuinely to try and do what they want to do. And after like, a few years of actually working in the industry and sorting out how to actually do the job and, how to look after people and sort of how I was going to work into my business into how I want it to run. I've surrounded myself in a group that is literally like not toxic. It's just the best amount of people around me. So it's helping others would be my pillar. And I don't think about money in that at all. It's just a repercussion of the hard work I do day in, day out.
Yeah. It's a byproduct of helping people and solving problems, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So we were having a brief discussion off here before we came on, and we got 10% of the way through it, and it was you're talking about when you were going through the study.
Yeah.
Where was that conversation going? That there was, you go through the study and it's sort of all of.
So I started my papers. I rushed through my papers. So I did it in about 2 weeks.
Yep.
Just day in, day out, just rushed through it all. It was all online. And then I don't even remember it, to be honest, because it's nearly like 19 years ago. Rushed through it all. We submitted it off to the people for the marking. And then you just have that one face-to-face test where you have to prove that you can do a sales and purchase agreement.
Which you can't fail, by the way.
No,
I forgot to date my sale and purchase agreement. He's like, are you forgetting something there? And I was like, no, I think I'm good.
The guy tried to throw me a curveball. He's like, we put the price in, and he's like, should we date it now? I was like, yeah, let's date it. He's like, no, you don't date it. You date it again. It's like, don't do that to me, man. So yeah, we rushed all through it. I got into the industry. I didn't know. I've never been to Lower Hutt before. Knew nothing about the suburbs.
Wow.
Nothing about houses.
Where did you live before that?
I was flatting in Wellington while I studied at Vic, but prior to that, I'm from Fielding.
Okay, so you've come to a completely new area at this point as a brand new agent.
Thinking I was going to be the top agent in their office.
I'm going to be the man.
And then I got fired from their position.
Okay, good start.
Yeah, so did the study and jumped in, and then that's where it was sort of like learning and just basically grabbed every opportunity you could to try and understand it. To be like really bad, like my first viewing I ever did was a lovely lady. I actually ended up selling her a house as well. I picked her up from work. We drove to this house. It was sort of daylight. It was at this time of year as well. It was going dark. I picked her up from work. We're going to this place in Taita. I was so excited to actually have my first viewing that I didn't actually know where I was going. So I had to pull over, Google Maps the place while she was in the car, and then drive her to it, and then go through this complete like fake it till you make it while I was in there. But she was lovely. She didn't buy that house. We didn't know anything about that house because I didn't know anything about it. But the very next house I showed her, she did buy.
Right.
And that's how my first year was all about, just working buyers into houses.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And learning from the existing agents in the office. You're taking any opportunity to pick information and skills.
Because the market was a lot like it is now. Like there was listings would stay on the market for X amount of time. Agents were getting complacent about even doing open homes in the weekend because it's been going on for like 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks. And I was just basically fishing around any agent who would give me an open home.
Yep.
Because I'm excited to get that flag up, get any buyer. Yeah.
So you worked buyers heavily in that first year to get your start?
Hugely. I think so. My first 4 sales were buyers. So when you, different to your framework, obviously there's a percentage cut between the buyer, the listing agent and the selling agent. My first 5 paydays were all just through selling agent. Commission, just moving buyers around. There's a bit of a beauty, I reckon, as well, when you're very fresh, you create these relationships with the buyers too, because you have an expendable amount of time. You got a lot of time just to really work with them. It was an awesome experience, actually. You got to really learn about them and actually help them like genuinely all the way through, from start to beginning, showing them most.
A little birdie told me recently that that's still one of your strong points in your
working with buyers. For sure. I make a big focus on working with buyers because it's not a one-way street. You don't just work for the seller. You work for the buyers as well. You've got to get them to the point, of actually wanting the house, a good rapport, and that echoes in their like trust in their, when they do come to make an offer with you, that they feel comfortable. And that creates good negotiating between the vendor and them.
Is there anything else that you do particularly well? If you have a chance to reflect on your business, and without blowing your trumpet, you're a hard worker, you've got self-belief, you like to help others and solve problems.
I'm quick at communication. I make a big point to they're inquiring about viewings, anything, I try and get back to them as soon as I can, but then I do have rules around I won't answer or do texts or anything past a certain time of the night. I'm consistent. If I could go back and tell myself 8-10 years ago, number one I would say thing to me would be get up early. I was big, I'll make the business work for me, I'll sleep until 10, 11 and then do work in the evening. I was a classic digital designer.
Nice.
That would be get up early, start your day early, and then everything just flows on from it in the morning, win the day.
So consistency and routine, consistency and process, consistency and how you do things.
It's like a routine process, and it's bizarre because I was thinking about it before I came here. I don't have a business plan of such. Like in my head, it's like list more, sell more, whilst providing premium service, and understand that every sale that you're doing for every buyer is a huge milestone. Especially first home buying, and that you got to. It can sometimes become clouded, or I've seen it become workshop or routine-y, like it's not a big deal anymore. I try to make sure that I take a step back every time and be like, they've just completed probably one of the biggest transactions of their life. Celebrate it.
For us, it's another day, and we've done 3 others this week, right? But for them, it's like once in a 7 year.
Yeah, and I've even changed even my gifts giving and that through the last 2 years because of how, when I thinking how big the process is, like the gift should actually replicate that. So yeah, just being more aware of things, I guess.
Do you have an example of what sort of gifting you do?
Well, I guess previously and it was never hold back or stingy, but we would give them sort of a first aid kit. There'd be a little bit of groceries on the table, where I've kind of kicked it up to you're going to get a massive hamper, you're going to get a rug, and there'll be sort of a bottle of wine or something else in there. So it's a good value gift. And my vendors generally, I'll do more a voucher system. So I sort of just figure out where they like to spend their money and what they like to do. Just feel just for vendors, it's just easier just to give them vouchers along the line of what they want instead of giving them more stuff to move on to the next property.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like the making it an event and showing them that it's important to you and it's big to you as well, even though you're selling 100 houses a year or whatever it might be.
Yeah. It's, a lot of the time the gifts is just to be hair salon, the hairdressers, it's expensive to get the hair done now.
That's not fun. If you like it, all is known, mate. No business plan is unique for a top performer, but you must be very focused and you must sort of know the direction that you want to go in and somewhat have plans in your head without it being written down.
So I've just achieved number 1 in NZ. So in my head, I'm trying to formulate how do I start creating a team to start supporting me so I can go for number 1 team.
Right.
Probably not, obviously not this year, because this is in my head, my planning phase. but there's nothing on paper. My routine is obviously get up early, take care of my daughter, then start work. That's basically it.
When I open my eyes to when I close my eyes.
I always get like one workout in a day. So I always, do my thing at BFT, a class, and at any time of the day, because I've got a key there, it doesn't matter what time.
Yep.
I can just put it in between my appointment.
That gives you energy.
Yeah, it's a must. Like taking care of your body.
Yep. Diet.
I mean, that's, I sort of trained to eat. I trained it.
You train to eat what you want to eat.
Yeah, correct.
Because you're allowed after your training.
Yeah, correct. I don't push the shit out. I just be like, I takeaways every day. And I do get pretty bad sometimes. But, I try and reel it in. But I generally I try to be healthy-ish.
Yeah.
Make healthy decisions 80% of the time.
80% of the time. So you don't have written goals, but you clearly know what's next for you, which is building a team to go for that next milestone. Is that an obvious thing to do, the team build? Is that to do more business? Is that to service your current business better? Is that to give you more time and flexibility? Or is that just to go and take out an award?
No, it's to grow. It's to grow is the short answer. I've got a full-time PA with me at the moment who's actually been a family friend for a while, so she's been awesome. She understands the business, and it's not a 9-to-5 job. Sometimes there's things that need to be done in the evening, but ultimately in my head I don't want to be doing this, like being the salesperson, this yakka in 10 years time. Like, my goal is ownership at the end of it, where I'm owning the company and I'm the one driving the company forward. That's my ultimate goal.
Other people in living rooms at 8 p.m. on a Monday night instead of you.
And yeah, but then I'll be able to lead from experience too, and that's how I am sort of structuring my team too. Like, I'm discussing with a buyer's agent at the moment, just sort of seeing if she'll be a good fit, and then I'm sure she will be, and then just keep going forward. Even in a tough market, like, there's no point waiting around for it to get good again in terms of easy sales.
Yeah.
I'm all just sort of build now, do real tough yak for the next sort of 5 years, and then hopefully it pays off with more time, for school holidays each year as they start coming up as my girl goes to school. Spending some more quality time at home, because I'm not going to miss that either, which is a huge thing in the back of my mind, because a lot of the agents or successful people who I've talked to, there's a common theme about they've missed out on their children's growing up as well. So a lot of the successful part of the team, a lot of them have nurtured their family life too, but a lot of them I've spoken to as well, they said, we missed it and we regret it, and I don't want to do that.
Can't get it back. Speaking about a tough market, when things did get a little bit harder, I've noticed that you sort of somewhat specialise in new builds, and when things got harder, I guess the froth went out of that market and agents lost interest. Agents lost interest. They were hunting them, and at times were good and they were flying off the shelf, but then they sort of didn't want to know about it because they weren't selling. But you kept on pushing through that, and now you've sort of got this massive niche, I guess.
Yeah, and that was literally I was looking at listings, because it wouldn't matter. The market, when it crashed over, everything was tough to sell or unsellable at some point. You're doing open homes, 6, 7, 12 open homes a weekend, and you might get 2 buyers there.
Yeah,
it was even to this day, like even right now, it's a bit tougher. It's not a real busy market out there. Which, if you are looking to buy, get out. It's a good time to buy. But yeah, I invested. There was a development I was chasing in Silverstream, Upper Hutt. I didn't have any developments since I've been on my own as an individual agent, and I was officially given the chance to start selling. Basically, the developer said, "Yep, we'll give you a chance," and I sold it. Majority of them anyway, and that sort of caught the attention of other developers too, that I was selling new builds where no one else was selling them in a market where it seemed like it was nearly impossible to do it. And obviously, you would know that. I got the after that, obviously other developers contacted me, and then we've just been rolling 40%. Big fan of new builds.
Is it is it a hell of a lot easier for business when you do have a focus like that? Because then you know, okay, a big chunk of my business is coming from this certain part of the market. And so these are the things that I need to be focusing on. I need to be meeting with more developers. I need to be hunting and gathering these sorts of leads rather than just, I see a lot of agents and they're just like scatter. They'll do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and they're taking a little bit of listings from everywhere, but they've got no real focus or no real presence, instead of going, this is my lane, or this is a heavy part of my 2 lanes, and I'm just going down that lane knowing that these are the things that I can be doing to really turn that wheel.
That's I've got to believe in the developer too. Like I'm a big gut. I run off my gut feel.
The developer as a person, or the project?
Even as the person,
right?
As the person, if I think they're good people, or if I know they're delivering product that is, I've spoken to other people and they're like, they've had good experiences, they've lived in their homes. If I believe in the product, I'll sell it, and I think I can convey that across to the purchasers who are looking to buy them. So there's only like 2 major developers I do kind of work for, and that's not saying I wouldn't work with any other developer, but I know their product, I know how they do things, and that just lets me convey and actually, comfortably say to the buyers, this is what you're going to be getting, and after that, even when you've moved in, this is the care you need taken care of. And I think that's the reason why, like, my belief in them sort of goes on to the buyer, and they feel more comfortable. That's the way I perceive it anyway.
Sure. Okay. Just wrapping up, if there was 1 or 2 pieces of advice for people out there watching, and maybe take yourself back to when you went out again on your own, you had some experience, you've been in the industry for a little while, and you've got big hopes and big dreams, and you want to move forward. What are 1 or 2 pieces of advice for people out there that we haven't already covered that they could focus on?
Focus on just getting work. You'll obviously have your own gaps in your own time. I personally, I don't really take a day off, but I will never, I always have family events and things I do go to, so do make time for yourself as well. Like I work out that 1 time a day, always, every single day. But experience, pick up work.
Hard work, personal belief, which is massive, consistency, balance, family, exercise, diet, like these sorts of things. You've got some really strong things.
Thanks. And that's what it feels like, right? You're trying to just get everything perfectly balanced. And obviously if you strain one side, the other side's going to strain for it. But I think you brought it up to me and I haven't really thought about it. I've never thought about it yet. My personal belief in myself. Is it imposter syndrome? Is that a thing? Like, is that the syndrome where you're thinking that
you're not good enough?
Yeah. Because I knew I was a good agent when I started. I did pretty well when I first started on. I went into a team which was high performing. We smashed it out the park for 5 years, but it wasn't my team. When I left the team, I took nothing from it, sort of anything. Databases, nothing like that. I was like, look, I'm out of the team. Really mutually, we were real happy with each other. Good friends to this day. Went out, and then I nearly felt like I was at the imposter syndrome. Like, I know I've been doing it 7 years, I know I've been doing it well, but nearly like, am I good at this?
Yeah.
And that I think in my head, it actually took a couple of months to wrap it around. Like, yeah. Was
there something that helped that belief? Was it just getting out there and doing it and getting some results, getting some runs on the board?
I was always getting out there doing it. I had, I was doing good real estate, selling a lot of homes, even on my first year out. It's one of the top performers in the office, but I don't know what changed it. I don't know, honestly. And I think it was genuinely my wife getting pregnant after we had been trying for some time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that sort of just flipped it all of like, okay, you're in the top 10% now. Like, it's time to go. It's not about you anymore.
Something bigger than yourself. Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of things that even in my culture, and like with Māori, we can echo it. We work harder for other people than we do for ourselves. I don't know if that's a common belief for anyone. Do you work harder for yourself, or do you work harder for the people around you?
Good question. Do I work harder for myself or harder for the people around me? I've been asked this a lot of times actually in my career. So recruiting new people into a business and then getting to know them and them asking me this sort of question. And a lot of the common and popular answer from a lot of people, the one that people want to hear is, no, I do this for my family. And my answer is actually, I actually do it for myself. I work harder for myself, and I do it because I enjoy it and I want to do it rather than my family.
Yeah.
But I guess in a business sense, I do work hard for the people who work for me and with me.
Yeah, you look after your group.
Yeah.
But you sound like you're someone who kind of leads by example there, right? Because if you're the one, you're working for yourself, you'll kind of smash through the wall of it initially. And if there's people who are working for you, you're looking after them, you're like digging forward will look after them in a way. So you are working for others essentially as well.
Thanks for the plug. And with that, man, we'll wrap it up. As I appreciate your time, and there's some really valuable insights in there. And I hope people out there take some of those and take some action and get out there and do it, because it sounds like just going out there and doing the work is a massive difference.
Yeah, can I just wrap back around to the what I tell people? Just be a good person. There's too many cowboys in the industry.
Yeah.
Who you don't need to lie. You can just be straightforward. Obviously, like to some degree, straightforward. But as long as you're a good person, you take care of them, you do the processes correct, and you actually put the time in, like literally anyone in the industry can do it. But there's a big difference between people who say they want to do it and they just don't. Like you put the gain, like the pain now, like you'll get that gain eventually with consistency, not just like a 1-2 month spell where I'm just going to go crazy.
Yep.
And door knock every door. And
it's good people do win in real estate. And my observation is most of the top people are good people. And that comes through over a long period of time. We're a collection of small communities in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And those communities are too small to go out and be a cowboy and be sustainable in doing that and be successful in doing that. So most of the top people are great people.
And you'll get caught. If you're being a bad person or if you're being deceitful, that it comes back around.
Yeah.
You can see it. I've seen people come in and out of the industry and do it. Wake up early. Advice 1. Advice 2, be a good person. And know your craft. Just know your craft. That's a given. By I mean know your craft, I mean know your sale methods, know your community, know the recent sales. That's all a given. You should know all of that off the bat, and you'll be able to talk about it in layman's term no matter what to any vendor, buyer, Eastern product.
Awesome. Easy, man. Thank you.
Thank you.